there, Morgan with an answer here, and today I'm making this space-themed balloon garland. It's a perfect blend of sophistication and whimsy, so whether you're throwing a party for a child, an adult, a prom, or a baby shower, this would work great in any of those settings. So follow along and I'll show you how I made it. The bulk of this garland is made up of 40 black and 6 silver 11-inch balloons, and I'm inflating those to any size between 6 and 10 inches. I'm not going to bother with a balloon sizer today because this is something that's very easy to eyeball, so just go ahead and inflate all of those 11 inches to various sizes, and then we're going to bring those together into a pair by tying the nozzles together, and then taking 2 pairs, I'm going to cross those so that the nozzles touch, twist them around, and that's going to create a quad. Then just repeat this step until all these balloons are put into quads. Now in a similar fashion, I'm using 45-inch balloons inflated to various sizes, and I'm going to put all of those into quads with just a few left in pairs. To embellish the garland, I'm adding 3 of these Mylar stars. Now these stars are small enough that they don't have a self-sealing valve on them, which means I'm going to either have to heat seal them or tie a knot in this valve, with heat sealing being the best way to do that. So I'm just going to inflate this until it's nice and taut, and then holding that valve between my 2 fingers so that the air doesn't get away, I'm going to move this over to my heat sealer. I just want to make sure that valve is nice and flat without too many wrinkles, so we get a nice clean seal across that, and this star is going to stay inflated for a long time. Next, I need to prepare 4 260 balloons in silver, and these are going to be the rings around our balloons that make them look like planets. So I'm going to inflate this so there's about an inch of tail left uninflated, burp it so it softens the balloon, and then just tie this off into a knot. Now with 4 of these, I'll be able to do 2 small planets and 1 large planet around this 36-inch balloon. Now I'm using an extra 260 here, and I'm going to remove the air from it and tie it off in a knot. I'll be using that to secure the nozzle of my 36-inch balloon. Not only will that tie off the nozzle, but it will also give me an anchor point to tie this into my garland. I then just repeated these steps, so I've got 2 of these gigantic balloons to put into my garland. Now that everything's inflated, let's start assembly. Now I've got a little bit of fishing line here, and I'm just going to wrap it around my first quad in a figure 8 pattern, and that will lock it to the quad. No knot is required. I'm then going to take my next quad and nestle it so that the balloons are in between the balloons of the previous quad, and then wrap that fishing line around a balloon or 2 in the current quad, and then take that fishing line back to the previous quad, wrap it around, and then bring it back up to the center of my current quad. I'm just going to keep repeating this until I've got all my quads together, making sure that I'm watching where I'm placing my silver balloons. I've only got 6 of those in the garland, and I want to make sure that I'm evenly distributing them across the entire length. Once I got to the end of the garland, I left about 3 feet of fishing line on the end so that I could tie it to my backdrop. Now I've just got a simple backdrop frame which is holding this brick backdrop up, and I'm just going to attach that fishing line to the very top so that this garland is hanging down. I want my garland to have a little bit of a curve in it, so I'm going to rotate my quads around until I start to achieve that shape. Once I start to get close to that, I'm going to add my first 36-inch to the end just by wrapping the 260 that we tied to it up into the quad on the end of the garland. Now I'm just going to start filling in any gaps between this large balloon and any of the balloons along the garland. This is where all those 5-inch quads and pairs that we made earlier are really going to come in handy to flesh out our garland. I also undid one of my larger quads, so I had a couple pairs to play with. And this is going to be a process where you're going to put some balloons in, take a step back, look at it, and reassess where you might need some extra balloons. Now I'm going to add my second 36-inch balloon right here near the top, and that's going to help give me some more curved shape to the look of my garland. And I'm going to do the same thing by adding some of those small quads in to make it look like it belongs. Now to make this giant one look like a planet, I'm going to take one of those 260s we made earlier, put a 1-inch bubble in it, twist it again, and then to this bubble I'm going to tie the nozzle of a second 260. You could always skip the bubble, but because this bubble is going to be visible on the front of my garland, I thought it looked a little bit better than just a seam between 2 260s. With these 2 balloons, you're going to wrap them snugly around your 36-inch balloon and then twist them together, and this is going to lock it around that balloon. I then just nipped the tail of that balloon with a pair of scissors to let the air out, tucked it behind the 260, and nipped the other one. I'm just going to tie these in a simple knot so that it's not going to let any air out, and then trim away any excess balloon. There should be enough tension here to keep the ring around the balloon, but if it seems to be slipping, you can always add a glue dash to the back side of your 260 and stick it directly to the balloon just so it doesn't shimmy off. Before I attach my stars to the garland, I want to tuck this nozzle away so you don't see it as it's hanging in the garland. So I'm going to put one of the glue dashes right on that nozzle, pull off the paper, and then stick that tail to the back side of this star balloon. So one side's going to have text on it with all of the branding and stuff. Put it on that side of the balloon. I then added another glue dash to the back of the balloon and used that to stick it into the garland. And I've only got 3 of these, so I'm going to spread them out in my garland, making sure I give some space between it and any other silver balloons. I picked a couple black balloons on the front of the garland to be planets as well, and following the steps that we did with the big balloon, do the same thing for these little guys. Finally, I'm going to turn a couple of my stars into shooting stars, and I've got a 6-inch piece of this Mylar table skirting, and I'm just going to fold it in half, put a glue dash on the back, and stick it to the back side of a couple of my stars. You could always trim the tail if it seems a little too long, but it's the finishing touch to this galactic garland. I hope you're inspired by today's project. Black and silver are such a classic combination, and with a touch of whimsy, this balloon garland can be used in so many different settings. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button and subscribe below. I'd love to have you join my creative community. I do all kinds of event setups, party tutorials, and balloon projects just like this one. Until the next time, you can check out some of my other videos over here. And remember, stay creative, everybody. Bye!